The Handmaid's Tale, Chapter 18. Starts on page 1 of 3 if you're following along in a hardcover book. I lie in bed, still trembling. You can wet the rim of a glass and run your finger around the rim and it will make a sound. This is what I feel like. This sound of glass. I feel like the words shatter. I want to be with someone. Lying in bed with Luke, his hand on my rounded belly, the three of us in bed, she kicking, turning over within me. Thunderstorm outside the window. That's why she's awake. They can hear, they can sleep, they can be startled, even in the soothing of the heart, like the waves on the shore around them. A flash of lightning, quite close. Luke's eyes go white for an instant. I'm not frightened. We were wide awake. The rain hits now. We will be slow and careful. If I thought this would never happen again, I would die. But this is wrong. Nobody dies from the lack of sex. It's a lack of love we die from. There's nobody here I can love. All the people that I love are dead or elsewhere. Who knows where they are or what their names are now? They might as well be nowhere, as I am for them. I too am missing a person. From time to time I can see their face against the dark, flickering, like the images of saints in old foreign cathedrals. In the light of the drafty candles you would light to pray by, kneeling your forehead against the wooden railing, hoping for an answer. I can conjure them, but they're mirages only. They don't last. Can I be blamed for wanting a real body to put my arms around? Without it, I too am disembodied. I can listen to my own heartbeat against the bed springs. I can stroke myself under the dry, white sheets in the dark. But I too am dry and white, hard, granular. It's like running my hand over a plateful of dry rice. It's like snow. There's something dead about it, something deserted. I'm like a room where things once happened and now nothing does, except the pollen of the weeds that grow up and outside the window, blowing in as dust across the floor. Here is what I believe. I believe Luke is lying face down in a thicket, a tangle of bracken, and the brown fawns from last year under the green ones just unrolled. Or ground hemlock, perhaps, although it's too early for the red berries. What is left of him, his hair, the bones, the plaid wool shirt, green and black, the leather belt, the work boots. I know exactly what he is wearing. I can see his clothes in my mind, bright as a lithograph, or full-color advertisement from an ancient magazine, though not his face, not so well. His face is beginning to fade, possibly because it wasn't always the same. His face had different expressions. His clothes did not. I prayed that the hole, or two or three, there was more than one shot. They were close together. I prayed that at least one hole was neatly, quickly, and finally through the skull, through the place where all the pictures were, so that there would only have been one flash of darkness or pain, dull, I hope, like the word thud, only the one, and then silence. I believe this. I also believe that Luke is sitting up in a rectangle somewhere, gray cement on the ledge, or the edge of something, a bed or a chair. God knows what he's wearing. God knows what they've put him in. God isn't the only one who knows, so maybe there could be some way of finding out. He hasn't shaved for a year, though they have cut his hair short whenever they feel like it. For lice, they say. I'll have to revise that. If they cut the hair for lice, they'd cut the beard too, you'd think. Anyway, they don't do it well. The hair is ragged. The back of his neck is nicked. That's hardly the worst. He looks 10 years older, 20. He's bent like an old man. His eyes are pouched. Small purple veins have burst in his cheeks. There's a scar. No. A wound. It hasn't healed yet. The color of tulips, near the stem end. Down the left side of his face where the flesh split recently. The body is so easily damaged. So easily disposed. Water and chemicals is all it is. Hardly more than a jellyfish drying on sand. He finds it painful to move his hands, painful to move. He doesn't know what he's accused of. A problem. There must be something, some accusation. Otherwise, why are they keeping him? Why isn't he already dead? He must know something. They want to know. I can't imagine he hasn't already said whatever it is. I would. He is surrounded by a smell, his own, the smell of cooped-up animal in a dirty cage. I imagine him resting because I can't bear to imagine him at any other time, just as I can't imagine anything below his collar, above his cuffs. I don't want to think about what they've done to his body. Does he have shoes? No. And the floor is cold and wet. Does he know I'm here, alive, that I'm thinking about him? I have to believe so. In reduced circumstances, you have to believe all kinds of things. I believe in thought transference now, vibrations and ether. That sort of junk. I never used to. I also believe that they didn't catch him, or catch up with him after all, and that he made it, reached the bank, swam the river, crossed the border, dragged himself up on the far shore, an island, teeth chattering, found his way to a nearby farmhouse, was allowed in with suspicion at first, but when they understood who he was, they were friendly. Not the sort who would turn him in. Perhaps they were Quakers. They smuggled him inland from house to house. The woman made him some hot coffee and gave him a set of her husband's clothes. I picture the clothes. It comforts me to dress him warmly. He made contact with others. There must be a resistance, a government in exile. Someone must be out there taking care of things. I believe in the resistance as I believe that there can be no light without shadow, rather no shadow unless there is also light. There must be a resistance, or where do all the criminals come up from on the television? Any day now there may be a message from him. It will come in the most unexpected way, from the least likely person, someone I never would have suspected. Under my plate, on the dinner tray, slipped into my hand as I reach the tokens across the counter in all flesh. The message will say that I must have patience sooner or later. He will get me out. We will find her. Wherever they've put her. She'll remember us, and we'll be all three of us together. Meanwhile, I must endure, keep myself safe for later. What has happened to me, what is happening to me now, won't make any difference to him. He loves me anyway. He knows it isn't my fault. The message will say that also. It's this message, which may never arrive, that keeps me alive. I believe in the message. The things I believe can't all be true, though most of them must be. I believe in all of them, 3 versions of Luke at one and the same time. This contradictory way of believing seems to me, right now, the only way I can believe anything. Whatever the truth is, I will be ready for it. This also is a belief of mine. This also may be untrue. One of the gravestones in the cemetery near the earliest church has an anchor on it and an hourglass. In the words, in hope. In hope. Why do they put that up of a dead person? Was it the corpse hoping? Were those still alive? Does Luke hope?